Good evening. I think we will get started. My name is Ajit Sachdeva, and I'm the Director of the Division of Education at the American College of Surgeons. I'd like to welcome everyone to this professional development seminar series, which has been organized under the aegis of our Committee on Medical Student Education under the leadership of Dr. Stephen Yang, who I'll say a few words about in a second. The seminar series is really intended to help the medical students get guidance about career decisions in regard to surgery. And the program is specifically aimed at medical students in the first 3 years when they are making critical decisions about career choices. And this couldn't be more important as an endeavor at a time when the COVID pandemic has impacted the usual flow of information and the exposure of students to surgery and to surgical faculty. Even during the normal times before the pandemic, in the first 2 years of medical school, quite often medical students didn't get enough exposure to surgeons. And with the pandemic, even though now in certain states things are getting better, things are not back to normal. And certainly a seminar such as this can be of great value. So I'm sure you're going to find the program exciting. It's got some presentations followed by some breakout groups. And I am so delighted to introduce to you Dr. Stephen Yang, whose name I mentioned earlier. He is the chair of the Medical Student Education Committee of the American College of Surgeons. He also has been a huge supporter of our divisional activities across the board. He is a member of the Academy of Master Surgeon Educators, having been recognized for his enormous landmark contributions to surgical education. Back in his day job, he is the professor of surgery and oncology at the Johns Hopkins University. And in 2008, he was named the first recipient of the Arthur and Patricia Modell Professorship in thoracic surgery. He is well recognized nationally for his expertise, not only in surgery, but in surgical education, as I mentioned. And before I turn the floor over to him, I want to thank our wonderful staff that have made this possible and have spent a lot of time in organizing the details. Patrice Blair, whose name you see on the screen, she's our associate director. Under her is Kim Eckert, who's our senior manager for the medical student and resident programs. And I'm sure many of you have heard from her. We have Olivier Petineau, who's our assistant director for e-learning and distance education, who's helping with the tech support. And then Kathy Madrick, whose name again you see, who's helped with the organizational elements. She's from our convention and meetings division. So with that, thank you again for joining us. I'm sure it'll be a great session, and I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Yang.
Well, thank you, Dr. Sachdeva, for your very kind words, very humbling. And also, we all would like to thank you for your personal support and engagement with medical students for over 2 decades now. So again, good evening from Baltimore. I'm a thoracic surgeon here at Johns Hopkins, as Dr. Sachdeva said, and I'm very proud to help represent this Committee on Medical Student Education, which I believe is the best and the bomb of all committees in the American College of Surgeons. Again, I'd also like to echo Dr. Sachdeva's recognition of the staff here tonight. They've done just a superb job, not only for tonight, but for all the webinars we've had during this pandemic. And then finally, I want to thank all my colleagues who are on this call tonight for taking time out of their more than busy schedules to talk to you. You know, it's a great time of year this time. Spring is around the corner. You know, there's signs around the country and the world that we're slowly opening back up again. At all of our medical education institutions, the air is filled with a lot of anticipation, excitement as the senior medical students await for their match results next week. the other 3 years of students, as you all are, eagerly waiting their transition to the next level. And for many, the question draws nearer, what should I do with my life? And as evidenced by the number of people here tonight, we hope that the field of surgery is part of that answer. But is it right for me, as we entitled this webinar tonight? So we normally hold this forum when we meet in person at the annual Congress. So, in a similar fashion that we do there, I'd like to introduce the hardworking committee members to tell you a little bit about themselves very briefly, what they do in their everyday life, and also, why they might share a few words about why they do surgery. So again, I'd like to start with the committee and with Dr. Hollins, who was the former chair of this committee. So Dr. Hollins.
Thanks, Dr. Yang. I'm Celeste Hollins. I am a pediatric surgeon. I'm an associate professor of surgery at Texas Tech University in Lubbock. I have been in practice since 1998, so I've had a lot of time to be a pediatric surgeon and have been involved with medical students really my whole career. I think probably the highlight has been my time on this committee and being able to share really the joy of being a surgeon. And I think for me, that joy is really taking a child who could have a very simple problem, such as maybe even pyloric stenosis, which used to be life-ending before we developed an operation. Well, not me, but before an operation was developed to correct that. And it's very gratifying to be able to make that difference in that child and family's life. And so I think that what I do is the best specialty, but I think you'll probably hear that from my other colleagues as well. So thanks, Dr. Yang.
Well, thanks. Okay, Dr. Schnartz, who is the vice chair of this committee.
Hi, everybody, and welcome. Really excited to have all you join us. My name is PJ Schnartz. I am a professor of surgery at Creighton University, and I'm also a professor of surgery at Des Moines University, which is an osteopathic medical school. I'm a trauma surgeon and do critical care as well. I also do pre-hospital work. I actually got into surgery after a short stint as a pathologist. And the reason I think I got into it was very similar to like Celeste said, it's a lot of fun to take somebody with a very serious illness and make them better and make them better with your own hands. That's kind of a cool part of it for me. And the other cool part of it is you can't do surgery alone. You have to do it with a team. And in a lot of ways, surgery is almost like a sport. You wear a uniform and that you're wearing scrubs and you're doing it with a team. And I got to tell you, I've enjoyed, there are some long days, but I've enjoyed every bit of my career, and I'm excited that you folks are interested in learning more about it. So look forward to talking to you.
Thanks, PJ. Next, I'd like to introduce Dr. Barb Pettit, who's been part of this committee for several years as well.
Yeah, probably since God was dirt. But anyway, I am a professor of surgery at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia. I have been at Emory for 36 years, my entire career. I am a pediatric surgeon and was the chief of pediatric surgery at Grady Hospital, which is our big county hospital in Atlanta, for over 20 years. And I left practice probably around 15 years ago to become the director of medical student education in the Department of Surgery. And I have been very privileged to be able to do that full time. It has been an enormous amount of fun working with M3s, M4s, M1s and 2s on the SIGs. And I went into surgery, the reason most people go into surgery, because I started off wanting to do family practice and ended up in my M3 year on my surgery rotation, realizing how cool surgery was. And I went into pediatric surgery for all the reasons that Dr. Hollins said. You get to do all kinds of different ages, everything from actually fetal surgery and fetal consults to to 18-year-olds, teenagers, trauma, congenital anomalies. It's an amazing specialty, and I loved every second that I did it.
Great, thanks, Dr. Pettit. Another senior member of this committee, Dr. Lippman.
I'm Jeremy Lippman. I'm a colorectal surgeon, and I'm the program director for the general surgery residency at Cleveland Clinic. I'm an associate professor of surgery at the Cleveland Clinic Lerner College of Medicine of Case Western Reserve University School of Medicine, which is what it's called. I went into colorectal surgery because of the wide variety of cases you get to do. We do cancer, we do IBD, we do complicated abdominal and pelvic operations, and the others can say whatever they want, but there is no more grateful patient than one whose anus no longer hurts.
True enough, true enough.
That's it?
And top that. That's
Yeah, good luck.
I'm sorry.
to be said.
I'm sorry, I'm a little speechless. So I'm telling you, we have a really great committee. They have a bit of sense of humor. And before I forget, I just sort of scrolling through. Yeah, we'd love to see your faces. You know, you all are probably tired of sitting in the Zoom all day, but you know, we really want this to be sort of more like a family style dinner. So just turn on your video and, you know, don't be ashamed of your background or what you're wearing. So this is just another night. Okay, Dr. El-Saidi, another senior member of this committee.
When did I become senior? Adnan El-Saidi. I'm an HPB surgeon and the vice chair for education here at UCSF. It's a pleasure to be part of this committee. I went to the surgery actually mostly on a bet with my dad, and then I decided to stay because I just love the patients and I really enjoy the education part of it more than anything. And I love obviously the technical aspects, but I've migrated from doing trauma. I was in the military, the real military, unlike PJ, and then I ended up actually doing now cancer, and it's really a pleasure to work with patients. It never gets dull. And then my next phase is I really just want to be like Dr. Lindemann, who's my hero, but she'll talk about it next.
Great, thanks. Now, an esteemed colleague from Canada, Dr. Mederisi.
Thank you, Stephen. So I'm one of the international, maybe the only international member of this committee. So although I'm going to tell you I have deep roots with American College, so I am from McGill University, and I did my training up in McGill, but I went to Dana-Farber Deaconess for 2 years to do research. And then I went to MD Anderson in Houston, Texas. And my second son was born in Houston, and he's 6'4". I think maybe he ate well in his first 2-3 years in Houston. So I was 6 years on the Committee on Residency Education. And then this is my third year on this committee. And Stephen is right, it's a fantastic committee. I am a surgical oncologist, as you can imagine, from MD Anderson. And I must say that when I was in medical school, maybe some of you will relate to this, I was a medical geek. I just loved Harrison's. I read it cover to cover. But then I realized after I did my medical rotation that I needed to be able to do more for the patient. And I could still be a geek and knowledge geek if I went into surgery, but I could make a difference. And that's why I chose to go into surgery. And I did surgical oncology because I love research. So I love basic research. I have a lab, I do clinical research, and I try to make a difference in both ways. And so when I talk to you all about surgery, I want to emphasize the educational, but also research, and how much fun it is to do both. And I think that that's why surgery attracted me, and I hopefully will attract you to the specialty. Thank you very much.
Great, thanks, Sarkis. And I echo what Dr. El-Saidi said a second ago. One of my most favorite people who I helped to train, although I'm disappointed she did not go into thoracic surgery and heeded my advice and went into a better specialty, Dr. Lindemann.
Oh my goodness. You all are making me flush with redness. So Welcome, everyone. I am honored and delighted to be part of this incredible committee focused on education. My name is Brunessa Lindeman. I am an assistant professor of surgery at UAB, the University of Alabama at Birmingham. I am in my 4th year of practice, and as Dr. Yang said, I'm an endocrine surgeon, which I believe is the best specialty. But I will tell you that I went to medical school thinking that I wanted to do surgery because I wanted to have that hands-on approach, but I loved everything. And I like Dr. Medarisian said, I love the medicine side of things, but I realized that all of the work of rounding and seeing patients and deciding a plan, we did all of those things and we thought through everything in great detail in the span of about an hour and a half in the morning. And then we got to go to the OR and do something that I found to be incredibly meaningful and deeply personal. And so for me, that is why I chose a career in surgery, and I've never regretted it. And I chose endocrine surgery thereafter for a little sampling of the things that you've heard. I get to operate in the neck, which has beautiful anatomy. They're elegant procedures. I get to cure cancer for many of my patients, and the others with functional diseases, they feel so much better afterward. And so it's a really rewarding specialty. I get to work with medical students like you, and I look forward to being able to interact with you more tonight. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Brunessa. Jacob Quick, one of our newer members who was leader in the clerkship directors for the Association for Surgical Education. So Dr. Quick.
Hi, I'm Jake Quick, University of Missouri. I do trauma and critical care. I've been involved with medical student education really since I was a medical student. Started by making some online things that at the time were like brand new because there was nothing online and we barely had internet. But now, of course, that's gotten much better. But the reason I chose surgery, and a lot of people will say this too, that they will remember that first time and those first mentors that they had. And mine was I only did one case with him, and it was the only day that I ever met him. But Bill Chapman is a world-renowned transplant surgeon. And that was the very first case that I ever scrubbed as a 3rd-year student. And he knew everything. And he pimped me the entire time that we did this transplant case for about 3 hours, nonstop. I didn't have any breaks in there at all, and I didn't really know any of the answers to his questions. And when I finished that case, I knew I wanted to be just like that guy. I wanted to know as much as he did about everything. And I ended up going into trauma kind of for that reason, that you got to do everything in trauma and you got to know every piece of what's going on, both medical and the surgical.
Great. Well, thanks, Jake. Next, someone who hated the sunny weather of California and decided they wanted better weather, so they moved to Chicago. Dr. James Lau.
Hi, I'm Jim Lau. I am a professor of surgery at Loyola University now, as Dr. Yang alluded to. I spent 11 years prior to the last 6 months in Stanford, where I was a clerkship director. And I am thrilled to be here, not only to be able to speak to you all and learn from you, but also because I tried to become part of this committee every year for the last 10 years, and they finally let me in. I'm an MIS bariatric surgeon / general surgeon, and I like what I do for the simple reason, if you see all the people that are here and listen to all their introductions, I get to solve problems with you all and with colleagues like this who love what they do. And so it's the joy of medicine that I feel with my colleagues every day that made me choose surgery. And so I'm happy to share that with you, and you can share that with us. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Jim. Now the baby member of our committee, Dr. Carrick.
Hi, everybody. It's an honor to be here and to be part of this committee, and welcome to all the students. My name is Natasha Carrick, and I am actually at the University of Arizona in Phoenix. I'm a trauma and acute care surgeon and critical care surgeon. I'm the clerkship director for the students here at the university. So why did I go into surgery? I was inspired. I was inspired by the relationship that I saw between the surgeon and the patient that I didn't see on any of my other clerkships. And that really drew me. I was also inspired by the chief resident that happened to be on the trauma service that I was rotating on as a third-year student, who was just amazing. And I think that's what led me to a career in surgery, and I haven't looked back. I absolutely love it. My four friends, we went to medical school together. Each one of us have picked something different. So psychiatry, one went into GI, one went into emergency medicine, and one went into internal medicine. When we get together and hang out, I'm the only one that can claim that I can crack a chest, which I love, and mic drop at the end. But in this group, obviously, I think there are some other folks that can also crack a chest, so I have nothing to say about that. But welcome, and looking forward to chatting with you all.
Thanks, Natasha. I think I can crack a chest too. Okay, so, other things that, the beauty of this committee is we always try to be inclusive. And since we're directing our focus on medical students, it's natural to have a medical student member for our committee. So introduce soon to be Dr. George Zhang, who is eagerly awaiting his match results in 9 days?
That's right. Hi, everybody. My name is George. It is a true honor to work alongside these amazing surgeons and mentors as a part of this committee. Like Dr. Yang said, I'm in the application process. I don't know where I'll be, but I'll find out soon. So definitely, some nerves about that. It's really hard for me to impart any wisdom that, these amazing surgeons with decades of experience haven't already told you. But what I can say is that, I went into this whole process of clinical rotations very much undifferentiated, not knowing what I wanted to do. General surgery just happened to be my first rotation. It just schedule-wise, it worked out like that. And I instantly fell in love with the field and the people that, work together, whether it was the attendings or the senior residents or the interns, it seemed like everybody, even though they were working at such a fast and high level, they always took the time to teach and to be a fantastic mentor. So, I really got to know the field better. And, one thing I think for me, we're all very impressionable people as medical students. I realized that surgeons were the people that I wanted to be like when I grew up. And so that's why I chose general surgery.
What do you mean general surgery? You want to do thoracic?
That's right.
General.
Eventually thoracic.
Okay. Unfortunately, Rebecca Williams is our resident representative on the committee. She can't be here tonight, but she's an outstanding educator. Being a resident, has published much on it, and she'll try to get on if she can get off call tonight. I don't have much to add to my colleagues. I love surgery. I thought I was good technically. I played piano for years, so I thought I was gonna do something technical. And what got me into surgery was a couple things. First, both of my grandfathers died of lung cancer, so I felt there was some connection there. Secondly, as much of my colleagues said, I believe a lot in fate. And I spent a month on thoracic as a medical student. I just loved it. And, one of my mentors really ushered me into the field. And as they said, I love opening chests. I like opening bellies too, but I like opening chests a little bit more. And then finally, probably the last thing that got me into it was I was dating my wife as a third-year med student. And then, we were dating and she said, I just love cardiothoracic surgeons. And so I figured that was it. So, that's what sealed me into my field. But, again, we all talk about our specialties. We love all our specialties. And again, we're very passionate about it. But remember, it's the lungs that give the oxygen to the rest of the organs. So I'll stop with that. Well, thanks everybody for staying on for this past hour and a half. I thoroughly enjoyed the rooms. I think we had some great discussions. A couple things that I thought were sort of consistent were, how many years you had to train and how do your kids turn out? Do you subspecialize or sub-subspecialize, or how do you keep your skills up? So, I think there were really great questions tonight. Any of my faculty colleagues find any other common threads?
None of my kids turned out to be an axe killer. I have 3, and my youngest is about to match into plastic surgery, I hope.
Oh, good.
What I like tonight is I really am excited about the future of surgery with the number of women that have joined us, medical students. When I was in training, 10% were women, and I think when I'm going to retire, it might be 75% women. So I think it's tremendous. I'm excited that you're interested in our profession, and I wish you the best.
I love the diversity generally of all the faces that have been, that I'm seeing. It's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so again, any other questions from the audience? Anything that was still burning that we didn't answer?
You guys can always send us emails.
Oh, Melissa has her hand up.
Oh, Melissa. Okay. Talk to us.
Ma'am.
Oh, you're muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, actually, that was my question, was how can we contact you or get a hold of you? I know on our individual chats, like, some people put their emails in, but I don't think we have all of them, if that's okay to contact you guys.
I'll put my email in the chat room right now. Okay. Certainly, if you don't get it and you want to contact one of us in particular, if you just email the ACS staff, they'll get hold of one of us. Okay.
No, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, I'll be respectful of your time. My wife is texting me, "What time are you coming home?" I'm saying it's still early. It's 9:30 here. So again, before we adjourn, I really want to stress, thank the staff. I mean, they one of the hardest working staff at the college. So Kim, Brad, Catherine, Maura, and Olivier for setting up this webinar. We had a couple glitches, but if you haven't been on that end, it is extremely difficult to set up these webinars. So big hand to them. And then also to they're not on the call right now, but Dr. Sachdeva, the director, and Patrice Blair, the associate directors. So
we also have to thank you, Stephen. You are by far also the best dressed of all of us, right?
I don't know. Adnan sort of beat me out with his pictures. So on the screen now are we would love your feedback. I mean, it's only 3 questions. We just want to ask you how this went tonight, some feedback on what you want to hear. Now that we have Zoom meetings to stay, hopefully we'll have a blended approach to getting the message out and at least giving medical students access to the American College of Surgeons and to this great committee. This webinar is recorded, so if there's some valuable tidbit you missed, be on the website. And as one of my colleagues said earlier, we have a lot of resources on the ACS website that the committee has done, that George Zhang, our medical student rep, had headed a task force to update some of the materials. So these are all pertinent for those of you who want to go into surgery. Links in the chat, and I think we'll just sort of finish it up there. And again, I want to thank everybody for coming. We do have another webinar next month. There'll be more for transitioning to residency, aimed more at 4th-year medical students, but certainly you are all welcome to join. So again, thanks everybody, and have a good night, and be careful, be healthy, and hope everybody gets vaccinated.